Hey guys, welcome to another vlog. My name is Sandy and I'm so glad you're here. Today, I'm going to talk about how I have afforded to pay for college because it's been it's been a journey for sure. So let me share that with you. I had friends who were going to GCU and I was like, this just looks so fun. Like, go away, live in a dorm, get the whole experience. I get FOMO really bad. And so I was just like, I have never gotten to do this and I would just love to. So I start praying about it. I'm like, okay, but if I would do something like that, like that's thousands of dollars. How, like, there's money, there's what degree I would even take, like all these things. And so I start talking with people I trust and, getting their advice and that sort of thing, and praying about it and all that, and finally decided to, tour GCU and start like figuring out what cost would look like, that sort of thing. So I reapplied for FAFSA, but I did not want to take out loans because I'm a business major, business administration, most likely going into starting my own business, probably in event planning. We'll see how that all pans out. But the thing is that going into that, there is no promise I will make jack squat. Like, I'll probably make $5 and that's it, And so I don't like have this, like, I'm not going into engineering or nursing or like becoming a doctor where I know that I can pay this back eventually. And so I'm like, I don't see that I could take out loans, but that's like $26,000 a year with room and board, food, all my classes, everything. That's a lot of money. Well, I got my FAFSA again, which was going to be right around $3,500. So it's like, okay, it takes it down to $2,300 or $23,000. That's not much though. But as I was like talking to GCU and stuff, they said, look, we will give you a scholarship of $6,400 as long as you transfer in with a 3.75 or higher. And as long as you get in with that, they have this whole list of like what your GPA is. They'll give you this much if you're like a transfer student, which I was. And it says, we'll give you this much, and then as long as you keep your GPA above a 2.0 for your time here, and as long as we don't like quit giving the scholarship out, we will give you that $6,400 reoccurring every year. So that was a huge help. So the $3,500 plus the $6,400 ended up being, it was right around $10,000 that I was getting in like grant money and scholarships that like I did not have to pay back. So that left me with about $16,000 that I still had to pay. So over the summer, I managed to make, I think, one payment of like $1,500 down on the fall semester, which brought my payments down to $1,200 a month, I believe it was. But I did not manage to make the same amount of a payment on on the spring semester, which meant that my payments went up to $1,500. And when I tell you, I was extremely busy last semester and it was very hard to even make $1,200 a month to pay, plus my car payment, plus fuel, plus, any eating out or anything like that I did. I mean, I was scraping by. And, but I made it. I had a meal plan here at GCU, so it wasn't like I went hungry ever. And in fact, I finished the semester with leftover money in my meal plan, which was really nice. But December was my first like big payment. The fall semester, those $1,200 payments, I was working for a company called Busy Bees. It's a babysitting service here in Phoenix. And basically, it's an app. You go in, you can choose the job you want. And as long as, I believe you're over 18, they pay you $16 an hour and $18 on Saturdays. So it's a pretty decent wage. And you get to choose your own hours. And if you don't take hours, that nobody's gonna call you complaining about it. I mean, the only thing they ask is that you take 2 jobs a month. But that was stressing me out a lot because it was just like, you had to make sure you got the jobs in, and I had to make sure I worked a certain amount of hours every week, and I was never getting it all in, and it was really stressful some days, but it was okay. I was living through it. And then I ended up working for some family friends of ours all last semester, and then for the first month and a half of this semester, babysitting for them, and they live about 30 minutes north of GCU, and I absolutely loved that job. And so that gave me, you know, it was a decent income. And I mean, I was laughing to myself one day because honestly, I was making like more money than I'd probably ever made my entire life. And yet, like, I was seeing not one penny of it because everything was like going to tuition and car. I got really, really anxious about it though. And I ended up sitting on my living room floor in my dorm room, hugging my Bible like this, like so stressed out. I couldn't like do anything. I was like totally like so freaking anxious. And just like sitting there, like hugging my Bible because that was the only thing that was bringing me comfort, and like texting my best friend, texting my dad, texting my mom, being like, look, like I'm just like losing it over here. I can't like calm down. And so they kind of spoke truth over situation. It was fine. But the Lord just started like teaching me these really cool things, like saying like, look, I'm going to provide for you. Like I sent you here, I'll provide. I'm scared, you know, I mean, like I've barely scraped by all these months, and I have trust issues. Don't always trust him to provide. And I mean, I know we all struggle with that, but it was really difficult to just like believe it. And so we had to do some digging to figure out why I was having a hard time trusting him with it, which revealed some really sad but good things from my past that were making it hard to trust. And anyway, started just like working through all this. And so I'm like, oh no, like December's coming, I have to afford Christmas gifts, I'm gonna be home the first 2 weekends of the month, then the last 2 weeks of the month I'm not gonna have an income because I'm not working, I won't be in Phoenix. And just all these things that like were like starting to pile up, and it was like, oh no, this is so scary. How am I supposed to pay out everything I owe in the month of December? And somehow the Lord like just miraculously came through. I ended up getting a bunch of hours. I still, I work with my brother. I do what is called respite care. And basically because of his insurance, the state pays for somebody to come in and take care of him so my mom can have a break. He's 16. He is a wheelchair user. And so it's just, you know, helping get in and out of the shower, basically. He can, and getting him food because he can't quite reach the microwave and that sort of thing. So other than that, he's pretty self-sufficient. And so whenever I get to take care of him, it's usually pretty easy work. I'm just at home and I absolutely love it. So I don't remember what happened, but I think my parents ended up going out of town for a few days or something. And I ended up taking care of him for quite a few days in a row. And that ended up being a decent sized paycheck. So between that and then some of the work I was doing and some extras that somehow happened, I like made like plenty of money to like live through December. It was extremely much amount of money. Like I just didn't expect that. And I paid my first $1,500 payment to GCU, paid my car payment, paid for all the Christmas gifts I needed, the birthday gifts I needed to buy for my sisters, everything. And so it was just like, wow, Lord, thank you so much for providing. Well, I get back to school in January and my payment is now $1,500 a month. And I couldn't make my payment. I just couldn't. Like there was no way. The 15th of the month came around and there wasn't money in the bank to do anything really. And so I think finally by the time the second payment rolled around in February, I had paid January, but then there was February and I had nothing. But the problem is that while I wanted to work like crazy, and I felt crazy because I was trying to work like crazy, I couldn't because Busy Bees did not have very many jobs. And then in the middle of February, the family I nannied for moved out of state. And so it was like, it was so good that the Lord had taught me like last semester already, like, look, because last semester it was way easier to make $1,200 a month. You know, 1,500 is a little bit higher. It's a little different. And so he had just been like, had showed me that, like, you're going to have to rely on me. And so all through January and February, I was just like, Lord, my hands are off of it. I don't know what's going on. I can't find more work. Do I get another job? So I start applying to other places, that sort of thing. And nothing ever really worked out. And so I was just like, what in this world? Like, this like looks so odd that I'm like calm about it. I'm just like, yeah, well, the Lord will provide when he provides. I don't get to be stressed out about it. And I'm like, this is so like against every piece of my nature. It's countercultural to like not freak out about this. And finally at one point I got kind of upset with God because I was like, look, like this isn't like, we're depriving GCU of their money and I don't like that. Like it's not even me so much as like, aren't we supposed to steward well and pay our bills when they're due? Like, what are you doing, God? I don't get it. And so I was like working through all of that and everything, but I was just like, okay, like I just have to be okay with this. February, I ended up taking care of my brother for a few days because my parents were out of town again, which once again was a nice paycheck. And I started getting a little more work with Busy Bees finally. And then March rolled around and I sent my taxes in. And the family I nannied for in the fall, he's my dad's tax man. He's my dad's accountant. That's the word. Anyways, so he does my taxes as well. He's like, you're going to get a return of $2,700 or more. And I'm like, what? Like, I don't think I've ever gotten a return that big. I've gotten like $1,000, $1,200 maybe. Well, I start doing the math. And the amount I'd managed to pay down, I still owe GCU $4,000 for this semester. Last semester was paid off, but it was just this semester. I still owed $4,000 by April 30th, or by the end of the semester. And after that, they would show you as delinquent and all that stuff. I mean, until then, it was just like a $25 late fee if you were, late or whatever by, a couple weeks. Like, they have a little grace period, but I don't remember what it is. And I was just like, that $4,000 was there, but I just didn't get to be scared about it as much as I wanted to be absolutely terrified. I was just like, I have to leave this in the Lord's hands. So that's what I was doing. I was just leaving it in his hands. And this $2,700 comes in and I paid it down. I put it on straight to my account, and I owe GCU $1,000, I believe, currently. I know I have a couple hundred coming in this week. I'm going to be able to pay down, and so it'll be like $800. And I know I have a check of about $600 coming in from taking care of my brother a couple weeks ago. That will pay like a good portion of it off, and so I'll owe about $200-ish to GCU yet, which is not hard to make when you earn $16 an hour babysitting. So I know that it'll be very easy, Lord willing, that, and the creek don't rise, to make that money over the next few weeks. And so it can be done. I'm living proof of that. But I do plan this summer. While I know that I'll get about $3,500 again from FAFSA, and I know that I'll get my $6,400 again next fall, I am going to do my best to earn as much as possible this summer, because it would be nice to, only owe like $1,000 a month. Or less would be really nice. But if I can only owe $1,000 a month, and then, work like 20 hours a week to get that, I think my life will be a lot better. There will be less freakouts and less stress, and I'll get better grades. So I guess moral of the story is it can be done, but maybe make sure you save up as much as possible ahead of time. So anyways, that is all I have for today. I hope you enjoyed hearing how the Lord just provided for me. It was absolutely so incredible. I hope you guys have a good rest of your day or night, whatever time it is, and God bless you.